G'day, welcome to the Deep Dive Monday morning. We're here to review a heap of racing, mostly from Doomben. We'll focus our attention on there because that is where a lot of the narrative and a lot of the results have been in focus, in particular the win of Zaaki. So we'll get the opinions of both Mark Rhoden and Shane Ciurleo regarding that meeting. We'll also touch on Rosehill later on in the show. Curls, I'll start with you. How'd you find Doomben? Where else were you racing there on Saturday? Toowoomba? The other place beginning with N?
Nanango,
that's the one.
I found it excruciating. Can't think of a better word, actually. Seconds, just two bets at the Nanango for 2 seconds. It kicked off early in the day. Got this real bad feeling in my stomach when I had that first bet and the horse went to go up the fence and there wasn't quite a run there and managed to squeeze sort of through with 50 to go and get beat a nostril. Sort of set the tone for the remainder of the day. Anyway, well, yeah. We can talk about my bets after we go through each race probably, or if you like, or...
I was just going to ask, often you get that feeling that all of a sudden the card isn't working out in your favour. Do you ever contemplate stopping betting? I always think that's a crucial mistake to make. I think once you've done the form, you have to just keep backing yourself in, regardless of whether or not you think the day is panning out in your favour or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, for me, doing it full time, it's just like another day. It's just the next race. You do question yourself at times, for sure. Like, you're coming off a complete strip on Saturday and you're looking at, fields for Sunday, and then you have a bet Sunday, one bet, and it gets held up in the straight and gets through late and dives through and runs second, beaten ahead. And you sort of go searching for all types of feel-good things to get over it. And it's an impossible game. But yeah, you can't stop. I mean, you just got to stick to what you do, and just every day is a new day. And I'm not planning on winning $1 million tomorrow and then quitting. Like, if I win $1 million tomorrow, I'm betting Thursday still, or Wednesday. It's not going to stop.
No, definitely not. Probably also didn't help the fact that the D's went down to the Crows, though.
Well, look, that was there's a couple of moments in time on Saturday that'll grate me for a bit. I've had the only bet I probably regret on review was like taking the shorts, dutching that Toowoomba race, that mile race.
Yep.
And Ma Hussey were on it, and like it took no part at all. It was like held up from the 800 to the 250. Like, I know it didn't look like it made much ground once it got out, but like, they're not the quality of horse over a mile where they're going to get held up for 400 metres and then sprint off a dime. So it was around that time where that Keys fella from the Crows was holding the ball and the umpire said play on, and then it lands in that old bloke's hand who kicked the goal. And then the Crows defender handballed that one out of bounds deliberately. The umpire said throw it in.
Apparently that's all sweet. The Melbourne player got a fingernail on it on the way through, so apparently that doesn't matter then.
Yeah.
Well,
bloody hell.
It's the loss we had to have.
Yeah, yes. Exactly.
And how's my form? I've followed Cam Dean in the early line bet with the Crows at plus 34.5. Nothing on the head-to-head. So the $1.90 collect was my only winner for the day.
Wow.
Anyway, back to the racing in Queensland. Yeah, it was one of those days. I think we spoke on the show Thursday in the preview show saying I've won 8 weeks in a row. The punting gods heard me utter those words and brought me back to earth with a bang. But on review, I don't think there's a bet there that I wouldn't have had. Looking at it, and I can go through those as we, look at Brisbane. We took good prices with those country races. I suppose it's interesting. Well, I just wanted to share it for those that listen and don't necessarily get my stuff. But you sort of, as you build a database with your horses and build your notes on your horses, you start to learn about horses, and then you only want to be on those certain horses on certain setups. And there was a couple of those horses in on Saturday which I backed off those setups, and the map didn't go to plan.
Yep.
And you sort of know you're dead. Like that Watchman is a complete dog of a horse. You go back and you see what it did when it was on speed a couple of preps back at Ipswich and those sort of places, killing them. And it gets into a race where there's no speed. It's going to be either leader or behind. It's going to be either lead on a moderate tempo or it's going to be sort of outside the leader. And then it half misses the kick and gets held up and it just dogs it. Like it can come out next start $12 lead and piss in, and you're not shocked.
Yep.
Those are the sort of horses that I sort of found at the good. And they did start significantly shorter, but I suppose so they should if a heap of people are backing them from my stuff, I suppose. But little Trumpet of the Week nomination there. But that's just the way it goes. And we're on one at the Gold Coast that ran second. We're on one at a good price later in the day at the Gold Coast that led and just got hammered in front and weakened out. I'm still having those bets.
Yeah.
The Brisbane stuff, that's at the provincials. I'm still having those bets. I'm pretty certain. Well, I went and reviewed it, and I'm still having them.
Okay.
Basically, as much as that hurts, but that's just the way it is. Saturday, Brisbane. I've gone through the review once. Obviously, the punting form data come out last night. Look, I bet against Cloak in race 2. Now, I don't give. It doesn't matter how good an analyst or racing person, a form guy, punter you think you are. You're not finding Cloak to find 3 lengths on its PB. Like in any way, like we're on right or wrong, and like it's sort of race keen, rolled to the front. Cloak sort of had to do a bit of work to get outside at 3 deep. And when they got to those positions, I thought, well, we're beating Cloak. Nothing's going to come from the back and run us over. And as soon as I had that thought, Kate Cowan on Cloak has just been just like handlebars down.
Mm-hmm.
And, have a look at the race. They went out 8.9, 8.6.
Yep. Very fast,
Quick.
Obviously.
Very, very fast time to the 600. And you watch Cloak over the final 100 metres with its ears pricked and just floating to the line.
Would you suspect that those were the instructions? Just go and blow torch Nash and keep going because the horse won't be stopping, sort of thing?
So I let the data talk to me. Sub 11 second 200 metre sectionals from the 1200 to the 200.
Yeah, you're...
Suggests that, like, a Nash held the front too,
yeah.
Right? But the horse was travelling strong. I don't think he had a choice necessarily. But this, like, it looks like Cloak was ridden the instructions that it won't be stopping today. Keep the tempo very genuine.
That's what I mentioned last week. Ballistic Lover in Sydney drew 15 of 15 and just right at brains out of the gate because it's going to win by straight here. And
like, there's no craft in that. Like, there's no horsemanship. There's no craft. There's no jockey skill in that. Just go and let it roll.
What do we make of...
It's good to have that confidence, isn't it, in what you got underneath?
Going out 8.6. Like, lucky it wasn't in the Brisbane Cup. It would have been fucking giving Zaaki a run for its money at the furlong.
Well, if you go out, I mean, well, probably not in Queensland, but in an ideal world, if you went out in those sort of sectionals on a fancied horse and it ran 10th, like a lot of them would under those circumstances, the jockey should be rubbed out.
Yeah, well, they're getting questioned, aren't they?
Yeah, but these couple we've mentioned have kept going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like how do you review that race is a question, and well, I've asked myself looking at it, I don't know what to do.
So going back to Cloak's first, so it had one start at Wyong, second preparation, it raced 10.9 to the 600, 7.4 to the 600, 8.8 to the 600, so comparable speeds. It finished 5th, 13th and 8th, with the best figure being 2.6 lengths inferior to what it posted there on Saturday. And the market didn't necessarily want to be with it for the most part, did it? Which is kind of surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Like, you know, it has, like, I know it has gone out in those splits, strong splits, you know, previously, but like in saying that, it hasn't broken benchmark on the way home like it did this week. Like that's been the big key. That's been the key difference for me. But, anyway, look, it has changed stable, so that's why I was only looking at. Obviously, it was with James Cummings, then went to M. Griffith. Who the hell is that?
Matt Griffith.
For
Okay.
one start.
So I was only looking. So when I was comparing Cloak's figures, I was more interested in sort of, you know, what it's done sort of last prep and this prep. So it was quite the PB for the DVD camp. Didn't know it had it in it.
Yeah, I guess it's, you know,
didn't know it had what in it.
that performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Okay, so
anyway, there's a little bit of pocket talk from me there because, you know, they just barbecued the horse that I was on, which was coming through the good reloaded form race, and anyway,
how appropriately named Right or Wrong. Anyway, Cloak was the second best performance on the card. Shall we talk about the best performance in the card? And I mean, what do we make of Zaaki? It's completely and utterly brained this field. Look, I know there's certain horses here that haven't performed to expectations, but it's beaten Sir Dragono, who won last year's Cox Plate by 17.5 lengths. You know, you're measuring some of these distances in units of time. They were beaten by a week.
Yeah. Staggering, really. Staggering. I don't know what to say. I shouldn't say we. The jury was out at the 2000 for me based on the Sydney performance. I don't know what I've missed there. Don't think I've missed anything. I said in the preview show that I can get this as low as like $1.79. I think I said on a moderate tempo. I got that price wrong. It should have been $1.10 off any tempo. Post-race analysis. Like Toffee Tongue has run well. You know, she was probably half a length off on the punting form figure. She was probably half a length off her best run this prep when she ran third to Sir Dragono. She's run really well, and she was in a completely different postcode to the winner. You know, she's run the third best figure of the meeting. So, what do you say about the rest? They've just run below par. If you're trying to be maybe critical, I don't know, like Brandenburg, is it a genuine Group 1 horse? Natoya's a miler, is it? Melody Bell's retired. Avilius is completely gone. It should be at the petting zoo after bleeding as well. Humidor's retired. Shared Ambitions run below. Sir Dragono and Mugatu. Issues there with Mugatu, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. It's a really difficult race to pull apart in hindsight. And Mark Rhoden, you're the one who's going to have to deal with Zaaki for the most part of next preparation.
I assume it kicks off in Sydney before winning the Cox Plate. It does look like it'll win the Cox Plate on that. I think, being critical, Toffee Tongue and Brandenburg aren't Group 1 weight for 8 horses, no way.
No.
Against that, there's the ease of victory, the ridiculous margin, and the fact that he did it off a strong tempo.
Yep.
You know, class of opposition aside, they did go out strong. That was the knock on him. And he's not just coped with it, he's thrived on it and gone better again in the strong tempo. So that shows, I mean, that's the mark of a weight for 8 horse. That's the mark of a horse who's capable of winning a Cox Plate, is they can cope with pressure.
Yep.
And run 2,000 metres. And he has just comprehensively ticked both those boxes now. I've spoken at length about what I thought of the Sydney Group 1 weight for 8 form. Dave won't be around, but very elegant. But very elegant's best would give him a race, I'm certain of it. But what she did in Sydney wouldn't wouldn't beat what we saw on Saturday, I would say.
So realistically, the main dangers to it from a Cox Plate point of view, which is a lot of water to go under the bridge, but it'd be Aussie Kahir and Lloyd Williams bringing another European out, wouldn't it? That would be the only danger. Aussie finding another Sir Dragonet that beats Cox Plate Day and Lloyd with...
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Something.
Well, as we said before the show,
maybe Australian Bloodstock could find something.
They won't get here, but we saw, what was it, 2 years ago, if they can get a Japanese horse here, they just will win for fun. But, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Lee Gracier is the only Cox Plate winner in recent times that would have given Winks a race, put it that way.
Yeah, it was pretty dominant. He was still strong through the line too at the 200. Looking at its 200-metre sectional at the end of that race, and that was with J-Mac standing up, making it about him, pointing to himself and beating his chest.
He was half entitled to after the build-up from Australia's best form analyst, G. Boss. Saying the market was completely wrong.
Mate, he's too good, Bossy. I'm not sure whether you saw any of his Twitter action pre-meeting photo there of him and Mrs. Boss just about to jump in the Maserati to head to Doomben.
The hybrid Maserati, that one?
The hybrid Maserati, thanks to sydneymaserati.com.au. Whatever bullshit sponsorship thing they had. Just too good, Bossy. Bossy would have been on the front 9 Sunday morning just enjoying life. Yeah. He's too good, Boss. The horse didn't do the talking, didn't walk the walk after Bossy talk, but that wasn't good narrative, whatever.
Yeah,
it's not too dissimilar to a tweet that we saw nominated for Trumpet of the Week, where that fella that plays for the Brisbane Lions has played 50 games in about 5 years at the Lions, Matheson, suggesting that he sees himself as the barometer of the team. And he just wanted to get the boys up and about. Anyway, so Bossy come up short there, but, so be it. It's all part of it.
Yeah. As you said, though, the rest of the field may well has not have just basically been there. And whether or not they perform to any expectations next preparation, if they have next preparations, as you said, a lot of them are done now. We'll wait and see.
That's right. There's a lot of time in that field.
But
he was the fresh horse on the scene at the right time, but he was pretty emphatic, and we're just depending on you're only as Mark Rhoden has said many times before, you can only judge them against what they're up against.
Yeah. He's come a long way since running 8th of 10 in the Hong Kong Mile in 2019, where, as you suggested, the Admire Mars, the Japanese horse, basically gave him a bit of a lesson. That was why Cuckoo was second, Beauty Generation was third, so pretty decent race, but slow tempo. But he's obviously come along a little bit of a way then. Sir Michael Stout to Annabelle Neesham. Add whatever you want.
She's going well.
Okay, so that was the performance of Zaaki. Shall we talk about the BRC Sprint? Because Emerald Kingdom, Robbie Frad, Heathcote held off pretty emphatically to Farnay and Axe. And yes, that means you have to talk about G-Boss once more.
Oh, look, I suppose Gary had his chance, didn't he? We were on Garibaldi. Fuck this map up. Well, I didn't know if I fucked it up, but I got it wrong. You could run this race, you could put this field in front of me 100 times, and I would never be on Emerald Kingdom. I could never find it. I could never find it leading. It was a slow tempo, I thought.
Yep.
For this grade. He got away with complete murder. Robert Heathcote suggesting that he was an $8 chance post-race was... he sounded like he was about 9 bottles of red in for the day as well when he was saying this. Just to rub salt into the wounds of the beaten brigade. And I just couldn't find it leading. Simple as that. It's always been half sort of slow away. Had drawn a wide gate. I thought it was going to have to be used up to find the speed, and the tempo was that slow that Garibaldi sort of settled first 4 or 5.
Yep.
In run, which was which was a bit of a surprise as well. I thought Almeida and Ciurleo, among others, might have been on speed. So this horse has just been completely blessed. I don't know what to make of it, really. It's Tefane ran right up to the group performer that it is. I read this morning that they've withdrawn it from the Magic Million sale and will push on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which on the strength of that run, and looking at what's left in Queensland, for these remaining group races, it's a pretty smart option. I don't think it's going to make any less if they throw it on English Digital online auction at the end of the carnival.
You got the Stradbroke and the big Bears race.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like she has won an all age at 1400. Like,
yeah.
Why wouldn't you go to the Stradbroke off that run? I think it's the right move. I think she's certainly raced into calculations for those races as well, because what's left, like the that BTC Sprint, that 1200 metre race was a couple of weeks ago that Nicanova won, and it beat Vega one and Trekking and those types of horses that look to be just going the beaten brigade. And you have a look here, like where's the, I know that the leader was the leader and eventual winner was #blessed, but Toe Fame was really strong from an unwinnable position in run. Axe ran well. Garibaldi was disappointing, probably. Didn't really finish off. Like he sort of dashed up to the 200, and he was completely spent at the 200. So obviously, it looks like 1200 sees him out. And then like the rest were just. But Skins maybe was a horse that was unlucky and untested, but it won't make the Stradbroke now anyway. So,
the only thing I can say, the winner that's its fifth preparation. It's now 4 from 4 with Heathcote second up, but even then, that is still its weakest figure. There's an argument that could be made. That's its weakest performance second up when winning a Group 3.
Yeah. I think that says a fair bit about the race, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I can understand why the stable is bullish, because they obviously have a plan, or, that's one of their patterns, is trying to get this horse to peak second up, but even then. Okay.
Yeah. Good on them. They'll go to the Stradbroke. Just another pacemaker.
We'll start the same price.
Oh, they put up $71, and I said, boys, this is an $8 chance. And they kept betting. Anyway, winners have parties, losers have meetings. This is a meeting.
Oh, bloody good. Was there anything else that took your eye out of all of these races in Brisbane? I think we probably have to just mention Nudge, because for those who have been backing her in Sydney, she finally got the job done. Just needed a change of scenery, change of state.
It's more Mark Sheen than me. The only time I backed her was last start at Gosford, and second. But he's backed her about 23 times in a row, I think. I haven't spoken to him. I sincerely hope he's had something on Saturday. Otherwise, we might not be seeing him again on any of our shows, or anyone see him ever again. I think that might be. Yes. But yeah, I'd given her not given her life, but I said she's just not a horse you can back. With her racing style, just leads to heartbreak every single start, and the very next start up she goes.
Yep.
This is a very slowly run race. Race.
Some pretty big splits there on the way home from Nudge, it must be said. She's just gobbled them up off of slow tempo, as you said, Curls, like a very slow tempo.
If you got, like Vada did something similar, didn't it? It's savage.
Yeah.
I want to give, you've got to ask the question, Yamazaki, in that race.
How it ended up.
Now, Yamazaki has been sitting back and running, really strong late splits to win. Now, the Gold Coast obviously might have been the last winner I've ever backed when it won at the Gold Coast. And then to find it sort of mid-race move and circling and taking the front was strange. Now, what do you make of that? What do you make of those sorts of rides? Like, if he pinches that, he's a complete hero. And it's taken a pretty special performance to knock it off, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you don't really see splits too often consecutively over the last 600. So going 600 to 400, 400 to 200, 200 to the finish. It's pretty strong work by the winner.
Yeah, particularly that, the 6 to the 4 and the 4 to the 2, like that 400 metre split, like she's run 21.88.
Yep.
And still had enough in the tank to run 11.56 its last furlong.
Yep.
Pretty good effort.
So I guess, yeah, that's the question, isn't it? If Yamazaki's back there with Nudge, does it produce anything that's able to beat Nudge? Probably not.
Probably not, I agree.
Yeah, probably not. So balance of probabilities, it was a good ride on what was just a farcical tempo.
Yeah.
That's all right. Graceful Glamour, add her to the list. Never has to be seen again.
She retired?
Yep. That was her last run, I believe.
Good. One less horse to do the form on. There's a few small wins there then. That's good. Uncle Chris just doing Uncle Chris things, hey? Like, when was her last win, Nudge? She won a benchmark 70 at Flemington back in 2019.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
A benchmark 70.
The Bumble Trophy race.
In 19, right? And, like, he's just too good. Has he got a share in this one? Let's have a quick look. No, he hasn't. Anyway, it's now a listed winner. Like, he's just doubled the value of the horse. The Group 3, sorry. He's tripled the value of the horse. He's just too good, Uncle Chris. And I suppose you got to mention the past the post horses in the last race, the Roses. 5 of the first 6 homes, CJ Waller.
Yeah.
And it was only Word's turn this time. Senor Near and Grace and Harmony had their go last start running the Quinella, and this week it was only Words. I never sent Easy Far as a bet in the last. I spoke about it in depth and almost talked myself into it. I would have driven off the Gateway motorway into a ravine if it had hung on it. Thank God it's run fourth. Anyway, that was Brisbane. I've got no idea on lanes, bias, tempo, anything like that as yet. We've seen Kisakana go up the fence and win off a moderate tempo. We saw a backmarker, Yamazaki, circle them, lead, kick clear and get run down by Nudge. It's just...
It looks completely random.
It was.
On a cursory glance, it looks completely random. Anyway.
So fair. It was actually fair.
Yeah. Which is
probably
disappointing.
Played fair.
No one likes, talking about a fair track. We want to be blaming someone, but we can't. Outside of ourselves.
No. And how I handle these races going forward is going to be a complete grey up. And like, it's hard enough betting into races where there's 3, 4, 5 chances anyway. But trying to line this up, and we'll head across the road to Eagle Farm. I think it only gets harder. But that's all right. Might be just less bets. Who knows? But we'll see.
It's all part of the puzzle, isn't it? You're looking for horses that weren't suited on Saturday and then might be suited next start. That's probably it's always a good place to start, and then wait and see what the market suggests as a result. Sometimes they follow, sometimes they don't.
Indeed.
Anyway, we'll stop talking sense for a moment. Let's talk about Sydney. Rosehill. Although it must be said, Mark Rhoden, you're also betting at Newcastle, and you probably had a better day at the Provincial.
Yeah, Newcastle was certainly better than Rosehill, because I bet in about 5 or 6 races in Rosehill and didn't back a winner, and I bet in 2 at Newcastle and they both won. So it was considerably better and saved the day.
Didn't know why.
Newey, which was good. Look, in a sense, I had a similar day to Curls at Rosehill, anyway. In that I was quite confident about this meeting, a couple of races in particular, and then after 100 metres, the map was totally not what I expected. The first one of these was race 3. I thought $5 Mensa Missile was an insanely good price. The market was being made by Saina Katowice, who I thought had no hope, coming up wings at like Swan Hill and Kyneton, coming up to Sydney Saturday.
Yep.
And I was right about it. It did nothing. But there was a change. Well, there was no speed on paper. That was the key to the race. And Mensa Missile was either going to lead in a moderate pace or sit outside Kobe Star if it wanted to lead. There was an announced change of tactics on Born a Warrior, who's got back every single start of its career. And that's up to them. They've assessed there's no speed and they might like to roll forward. That's nothing wrong with that. But the way it was carried out by the jockey was ridiculous. It's just attacked and attacked and attacked for the lead, got it, beaten, straightening, well beaten. So he's given his horse none and put it on for the winner. The winner had some figures. The winner, on form was a chance in the race, but it was just going to be completely unsuited back in a moderate tempo. And the shape of the race is just completely unexpected, and it's the one, poor old Mensa Missile couldn't lift his legs in the last 200. He's held on for second, but something had to beat him, and it was that one who was suited by the fast pace. So that was very frustrating. I maintain I've got that race right, and it was a very good bet. Even with the CAT, if it had just been ridden sensibly, Born a Warrior, I think Mensa Missile still probably gets away with the race.
It does. Any word from Wayne's World on the ride?
I'm sure he would have had something to say, but the stewards, all the stewards said about Born a Warrior began awkwardly. Gee, imagine if it had jumped, it might have led by 10. Yeah. And actually, the same jockey, A. Adkins, did this. I backed Ron Quinton's horse in the Royal Celebration in the Scone Cup the week before.
Yep.
On the day there was a wind, leaders were not winning. No leaders won on the day. He's on a mid to back swooper who looked ideally suited, and he's led on it in 11-second furlongs, pulling its head off. It's just crazy, So.
And look, I know he's coming back from injury, but one win of his last 50 rides with 4 placings.
In Metro Provincial, look, it's a stat worth knowing. The last 3 months, 3 out of 113 Metro Provincial New South Wales, minus 93.5 units level stake.
How do you go out minus 10 on that horse? How do you go out 10 lengths fast? How? Like, and no mention?
No. Look, that's the thing. If you even half know what you're looking at with the sectionals, if you even glance at the sectionals, you go, something's up here. We need to ask the jockeys involved. I'm not blaming JBO. I think he was told to lead or be on speed, and then something really unexpected happened, and he didn't chase the leader, but he was obviously going too fast. But I don't blame him for that. But it's just so obvious on the sectionals. We've got to have a word here. I mean, the stewards have their own bloody speed map as well. What's that? You just announce a change of tactics. We're going forward on this horse, and you run, minus 10 or something. No, that's okay. They announced the CAT, and it's all sweet. That's it's just so obvious that this is something that needs to be at least. Maybe you don't rub anyone out or fine them, but you say, look, what were you thinking? What's going on here?
Yeah, just because you put
so
in
that they're
the
paying
change.
attention.
Yeah, exactly. Just because there's a change of tactics doesn't necessarily mean there's suddenly all carte blanche for setting whatever tempo you like. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, there is one example previously that was pretty well discussed on social media and in the media was Hugh Bowman's tactics on Farnan.
That's right.
In the Coolmore. No, it was in the Run of the Rose, the Group 2. He went 9 lengths quicker than average to the 600 in that race. And there was a steward's inquiry. Andrew Atkins has gone 10 lengths.
Yeah. But Farnan was the fastest 2-year-old in the country. This is a horse who settles last every time it's stepped on a racetrack so far.
Correct.
Well.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, it's also, tucked away Saturday.
Yeah. The other one, when I knew things weren't going well, that was one little inkling I got that things weren't going my way at Rosehill. And then in the 2,000 metre race for 3-year-olds, I thought Green Flash set up beautifully. It was going to be midfield trial in a reasonable speed in the big field, and it ended up something like 20 lengths off the space in a walk. So that was cast before the halfway mark. Just couldn't get into the race.
Okay. Was there a horse to follow out of the meeting that you've been able to identify, or are you just day by day? It's during winter.
Yeah, this time of year, other than 2-year-olds, don't really. Yeah, you just see when they turn up. Don't really label.
Yeah.
So not particularly.
I'll talk about Belmont for all of about 28 seconds. Track actually played quite well. It's a very tricky meeting to go back through because races 1 to 4 were won by favourites. Very even pattern. Then it started raining around race 5. Progressively got a little bit heavier. Track stayed good throughout, but the pattern certainly seemed to change a little bit, favouring those on speed. Horse to follow, I think it has to be Jarman, which raced in the provincial championship, which went. Let's just say it was never tested at any stage in the race. Not even sure it was tested in the last 100 metres, as it was clear. It's come back in really good order. It will find a race somewhere. But in terms of the publicised trench of last year, I could only find one potential victim for it for the entire card. That was I'm Eugene, who was through wide, no cover throughout, and just had a little misstride there at the 150. So still none the wiser as to how the track is come back, but it's hard to be critical of the track management team because they've done a fantastic job with Belmont and Ascot, and it's obviously powers that be that have caused a few issues there at Belmont over the last year or so. I think that was diplomatic enough.
It was very well done.
We'll see what happens if one of the horses I own ends up victim to it again this year.
A few things to follow up. I've got to tidy up before we go. Trumpet of the week. Friend of the show, KP, on Twitter at Tablord Kieran. He shared a tweet from a punter who really placed himself in the Humidor story as Humidor was having his last race, just to remind everybody about a big multi that was landed to kick him off. That was a pretty strong tweet from Tablord Kieran. He has plenty of engagement there. I think with the fact that he had 71 likes on the tweet suggests that it's a worthy winner of this week's Trumpet of the Week. So well done to KP. We'll send him a DM and provide him with the NRL or AFL set. Based on some other activity that he has on tweet, he's a pretty sick Roosters man, so he might be getting the NRL set. Just another disgruntled NRL fan on Twitter. There was also mention tagged in tweet about Nash Rawiller circumventing the suspension that he received at Doomben by playing within the rules of how Queensland Racing Integrity Commission handle their suspensions and appeals processes. So Nash was able to lodge an appeal, receive a stay of proceedings, ride the extra day, and then withdraw the appeal, and then so he could serve the 5 days, Monday to Friday, so he could be back Saturday. Brilliant work.
What a result. I wonder if he came up with that himself or someone's... I wonder who's picked him into that.
I don't know how that's happened, but it was good stuff.
Yeah.
Great work. Now, that's only... So that's circumventing the rules that are in place in Queensland, whereby, as in New South Wales, if you're a leading rider, you just appeal and you get those 2 or 3 days chopped off, whatever you need to let you be available for Saturday.
When would you like to start riding again, mate?
Yeah, there's no deterrent. The big riders are always available for Saturdays, so stop pretending that it's anything else but.
After how many days will you be sick of playing golf? Let us know that, and we'll tail the suspension.
Happy to punch one around in a $125,000 Saturday race. Have no fucking interest Monday to Friday.
Magnificent.
Okay. That was that.
I think that's us done for the week. Mark Rhoden, you're kicking off tomorrow at Kembla, I believe, aren't you?
I am. I'm not, after what happened to Curly, I'm not going to say what the results were like last week or how many meetings, how many days in a row we won. But we'll see what happens when we do that. But it was a good week last week, and hopefully I can carry it on.
All right, beautiful. Whereabouts on Wednesday are they racing?
The world's favourite race course, Canterbury Park.
Ooh.
All the punters love Canterbury.
Indeed. Curls, you've got Doomben Wednesday by the looks.
I have no option but to soldier on, because there's no there's like, the punting guys are filthy. There's no respite. There's like Doomben Wednesday, and then they have the audacity to toss up Bundaberg on a Thursday.
Wow. Oh, on the sand.
On the sand, swerving that. But then I've got Sunshine Coast Friday, the usual Saturday, and then they've chucked Gatton on Sunday just for a little bit of extra work. So I'm going to, just with there's so much going on, and the meeting so condensed, I'm only going to do the race by race stuff on Saturday from Eagle Farm with a good focus on that. And then we'll just do what, shop out wide at those other meetings where necessary. If there's a bet, but focus on the main meeting and sort of get back on track on our winning ways.
Sounds sensible to me. The Jacks have got Sandown on Wednesday, backing up on the hillside. Sale Thursday, Cranbourne, Ballarat Friday, Caulfield Saturday with Echuca. Sounds good. And I think it's just Belmont and Belmont. Don't know why it'd be anything different in WA. Guys, thanks for joining me. We'll talk later in the week, be previewing whatever's happening this Saturday. Until then, go well and bye for now.
And bye for now.